Hey everybody, how's it going? This is the premiere episode of Blindspots. So basically, Blindspots is just pretty much as the title says. These are all of my personal blind spots. So how the show's going to work is we pick one movie to just kind of kick it off with. So today we're going to talk all about The Thing from 1982 with Kurt Russell. But going forward, we want all of you guys to be a part of this. So we're gonna have some polls we're gonna throw up in the Media Sweaties channel on Facebook, and we're gonna essentially have everybody vote. I'm gonna put up 10 every week, and the top two that get the most votes, I'm gonna take 2 weeks. I'm gonna watch one the first week, I'm gonna watch one the second week, and then I'm gonna do an in-depth review. And there will be spoilers, just so everybody knows, because most of these movies on my blind spots are well over a year old. So I figured that, by then it's pretty much game for spoilers. So, and yeah, we're just going to get into it. So I got my first guest, Matt Mageau, aka sort of the sax man. How's it going?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty good. And it's pronounced Mageau.
Mageau, okay. You got to get that little French bit.
Originally, it actually used to have a J, but according to the story of my dad, there was a census taken in the early 20th century, and because in the French language, J, the letter J as we know it, is pronounced a G, and the other way around, the G is pronounced as a J. There was an error in translation, and that's how the G ended up in my name. It's supposed to be J. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, that's kind of like my name. Like originally, when my ancestors moved to this country, my last name wasn't Anderson. It was actually Arnbjarnson, because my ancestors, they all come from Iceland, and so cool. That's just a big thing that they do in Iceland. Like they either add son or a daughter, the little D-O with the two little dots over the O, and they say a daughter. So you're either a son or a daughter of whoever your parents are. But they thought that the Arnbjarnson sounded a little strange as far as like a last name for someone living in America. So over time, it just kind of evolved into Anderson. So
yeah. So what I've taken to doing is in like on Discord and stuff, I actually spell it with a J, so that way people know how to pronounce it.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So, but yeah, we can just kind of get into it here. So we're gonna be talking about The Thing. So The Thing is a movie that gosh, I've been wanting to see for years and years and years. And back in the day, say maybe like 10 years ago, I used to date this girl who was like massively obsessed with horror movies. And so we saw literally every single horror movie that ever came out. She was obsessed. And then I married my current wife now, and she's not really into horror movies unless it's kind of like more of like a horror thriller type kind of, like she'll get into some of those, but not ones that like really scare you. So like I think I showed her the first Ring movie, and to this day, like she still has nightmares about it, and she will not watch the second Ring movie. I cannot get her to watch it. So.
My friend, the same way, we saw it in theaters, and she actually left, and I was a bit of a dick back then, so I would randomly call her up, and I would do the oh shit.
Yeah, that noise is creepy. Like even I get creeped out by that, and like really, like it really takes a lot to scare me. Like some of the movies that actually scare me are not ones that you would really even think as like traditional horror movies. Like I'm like trying to think what the name of the movie is. You might know. It's not even, I don't think, supposed to be a horror movie, but it was a movie that was set in space. It has Jake Gyllenhaal, Ryan Reynolds. They find this little creature.
It's the movie like
oh yeah.
And a lot of people were joking it's the Venom origin story.
Yeah, so when I saw that too, like for some reason, like that movie really creeped me out because, spoiler alert, if you haven't seen it, at the very end, the creature actually escapes onto Earth, and last thing that you see is it just crawling across the top of the ocean water, like it's running on water, and then just takes up into the distance. And so you're like, oh damn, like this thing's loose on Earth, what the heck's gonna happen? And just like the music and the way that it's done, it like really creeped me out, and it's one that like I had no intention of really like being scared watching that movie. So
yeah, like for me, like I don't really get scared by horror movies nowadays, but the ones that stay with me are the ones that scared me as a child. Like the one I always mention is Child's Play, because I watched that when I was 3 and had nightmares till I was in my teens.
Oh yeah.
So, movies, there is still that specter of that hanging over my head, to the point where have a fear of dolls, and dolls like that, and I cannot have any merchandise near me. Like I will walk by them in the store, but you bring one near me, I will throw it across the room, sort of thing. So I mean, most of my fears just mostly come from my childhood.
Yeah,
watching movies.
Yep, same with me. Like I'm like for some reason, like I'm not really that grossed out or afraid by insects, but for some reason, seeing them in a horror movie, just the way they're portrayed, so like movies like Arachnophobia and like just always really creep me out. But like for some reason, like I can see a spider in my kitchen and I literally just kill it right there, or just pick it up and like, throw it outside. But like seeing it on screen, like just the way that it's presented in that way, it's just like it just really freaks me out. I don't know why.
He's around to a degree. Like I have no problem watching like people dying, people getting killed, blood, all that stuff in movies. Mostly because I know it's fake, and I educated myself over how it's all done. But if you were to present me something that was recently deceased in real life, be like a mouse or a dog or a human or whatever, I get nauseous and ill. Like I actually have a fear of death things. Necrophobia, it's called. I have a fear of dead things.
Okay.
So I mean, I have no problem watching it in the movie, but I cannot do it in real life.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. Yeah, but I get that one there. But yeah, so The Thing, I'm just gonna give just a little background on it. So the Thing, directed by John Carpenter, and John Carpenter also does the music along with Ennio Morricone. So they kind of did the music together. They teamed up for that, and the music I actually think really fits super well with the tone and for the time that it was released too. Like I think it's just perfect for it. And The Thing is a remake. So they had an original one back in 1951 that's actually on my radar. Someday I actually do want to check it out. I kind of like growing up. I sort of had like I don't know why, but I had an aversion of like watching any movie like prior to 1975. I like that. Like that was just my mentality growing up. I just never got into any old movies. But as I get older, though, I have been kind of drawn more and more to older movies and looking at like some of the early days of film and stuff like that. And my wife actually is a big reason why, because she loves classic movies. Like she likes classic movies a lot more than modern movies, honestly. And so she's always watching classic movies, always showing me like the best John Wayne movies, the best like just some of these classic actors, Cary Grant, some of those like older actors. And
it's a good balance. I feel like she likes the older stuff, you like the new ones. So
yep,
balance.
Yep, exactly. So and then they actually had a second remake that came out in 2011, which I actually did see, and I wasn't like totally.
Well, that's not necessarily a remake, though. That's what everybody misunderstands. Is because yes, it's about the Thing and it's about the same creature, but it actually it's a prequel because it deals with the like when you just to go into the plot a little bit. The very beginning of the movie, The Thing, they come across that camp that was completely destroyed. Correct.
Right.
Right. That camp is the one that's depicted in the 2011 movie. So it's not a sequel or a remake. It's a prequel.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
That's what everyone kind of misunderstands, is that it's actually a prequel. And I personally enjoy it outside of the really bad CGI, but that's another story for another day.
Yeah, like I enjoyed it. Like I wasn't in love with it, but I had fun with it,
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I'm just gonna give a little plot synopsis, just quickly here. This is from Rotten Tomatoes. It says, in a remote Antarctica, a group of American research scientists are disturbed at their base camp by a helicopter shooting at a sled dog. When they take in the dog, it brutally attacks both human beings and canines in the camp, and they discover that the beast can assume the shape of its victims. A resourceful helicopter pilot, played by Kurt Russell, and the camp doctor, played by Richard Dysart, lead the camp crew in a desperate, gory battle against a vicious creature before it picks them all off one by one. So that's essentially what the movie is about. But I want to just do a little like short little game here. So I'm just gonna see if you Matt, if you can kind of guess what you think that the Rotten Tomato is. I'll give you 3 guesses on the Rotten Tomatoes score. See if you can come close.
And is this the critical or the audience?
This is the critical one. What do you think the critics gave it?
I'm gonna go 86%.
Oh my gosh, that's almost dead on. Like I was gonna give you three guesses, but I'll just tell you it's at 85. So you're
Wow.
literally almost dead on. Huh?
I
So
figured it
yeah,
was high up there.
yeah, yeah. So then audience rating actually got a 92. So I mean, yeah, it's a movie people really love. I mean, for a lot
That's
of people, it's their
like they're-
favorite. I mean, horror movies of all time, and like it's up there.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, if you look back at the history of the movie, like when it came out in 1982, like nobody went and saw it, nobody understood it, but it's one of those movies that found its following at home video. And one of the beautiful things about this movie is that it came out on the same weekend as another movie that falls into the same category, Blade Runner. They were both released the same weekend. So I mean, they were in theaters at the same time as ET. So that month in cinema was just you could argue it's one of the greatest months ever.
Yeah,
releases.
Right. That's a powerhouse weekend right there.
Three movies that are like at the top of their genre right there and that are considered classics.
Yeah. And so I just wanted to kind of get into a little bit of our pros and cons about the movie. So I mean, for me, like probably one of the biggest things that I love about this movie, just all the practical effects that they use. I mean, just all the practical effects of the creatures. I mean, like it just some of those practical effects really blew me away. Like just seeing at the beginning, when you see the creature first take over one of the dogs in the cage, and you see it transform like that. Because when the movie started, I was a little confused. I was like, why is this person in a helicopter shooting at a dog? Like, is that really like a wolf? Is that a dog? Like what is that? And then like you find out why that's been taken over by this creature, and then so the dog runs from the Norwegian camp over to Kurt Russell in the American camp, and one of the team members brings it in, and then you see that like shortly after the creature kind of bursts out, and then he overtakes the other dogs there, and it's just like a really crazy scene. Like
for me, like there's a lot of great body dysmorphia horror in this, like with that, and then later on with at the very end of the movie with the monster where that has everything that's taken over pretty much. But I find that this particular one, the very first one with the dogs, I find it to be the most visually disturbing.
Yeah.
It is not that I don't like it. It's as easily the grossest out of all of it. Like, that's
exactly
the most out of all of it, of the whole movie. But I'm with you 100%. One of the best things is the visual effects. And this is a movie I point to when I make the argument of why visual effects are better than CGI effects. Yes, CGI can be more realistic, but the visual effects, they're more impactful. It's just something about them that's just magical. And there's a lot of them in this movie.
Yep, exactly. Like for me, I kind of look to like Star Wars. Like I like see like things they did like with Yoda, for example. They did a CGI puppet Yoda, and then in the newer movies like in the original ones they have all just practical effects Yoda, and then in the prequels they have the CGI, and like you can really like if you look close enough you can see a pretty noticeable difference. And I mean it does work in some ways to kind of clean things up, give him a little more expression on the face, that kind of thing. But like for me, I just prefer the practical effect, even if you see like Yoda kind of almost with the same expression like most of the whole time. I just prefer that better. I just think it looks a lot more realistic to me.
Well, yeah, 100%. And like when it comes back to Yoda, like in the sequel trilogies, that was a combination of both because they actually had a practical effect on the set, but they did alter it with the CGI as well.
Right.
So, and that to me, like go back to the 2011 movie, that's the major downfall of that movie for me, even though I do like it, is they actually filmed all that with practical effects. But somewhere along the line, the story goes, one of the producers brought his son on the set and he said to his dad, this is not realistic. This is not scary enough. And that's why they changed everything to CGI. But if you actually look at the bonus features, there were practical effects on the set. They did film with practical effects.
Okay.
I think it would have made the movie a lot better if they kept that.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And like, I don't know if we actually get to see what the actual creatures look like themselves. I mean, they're not, I mean, I can't remember what they really look like. I mean, the only thing I kind of think of is like seeing this giant spaghetti monster that like sometimes turns into like a spider looking thing, or like, I don't really know. I mean,
that's the beauty about these movies. Like in the original 1950s one, there actually is a representation of the thing. It is an actor in a suit sort of thing.
Okay.
So that one you do get what it looks like, but in the Carpenter one and in the prequel, that's, I think, one of the beauty things about this monster is you actually don't know what it truly looks like. Nobody does.
Yeah, right. Yeah, one of the other scenes that I wanted to mention too is a scene where they're doing the autopsy on the guy and then his head falls off and you see him kind of turning like a spider-looking thing that's just
not just that, before that, when he gives him the defibrillator and the chest opens up and eats his arms.
Yeah, it just eats his arm like a big mouth or with sharp teeth or something. Like, I'm like, yeah, you don't expect that. That's like a good kind of jump scare right there.
Same with later on in the movie when they're all tied to the chair and it turns out that one of them is infected, and all of a sudden that's when he, bursts out. Everyone's like freaking out, like, get me off this chair, get me off this chair. It's like that's truly horrific.
Yeah, right. And honestly, like one of the scariest things is to me, like the fact that like by the end of it all, they just have to end up torching the whole entire camp almost for survival because they're just out in this cold environment where like it's gonna. Well, like in the movie, they said it's going to drop to 100 below. So I guess maybe like it does get that cold in Antarctica, I guess. But
it does.
Yeah. So like, they literally do it for survival. But then at the very end of the movie, though, you see Kurt Russell and you see Keith David, who's also in the movie. They're just kind of just like sitting there. I guess they're just waiting to die essentially because they have like nowhere else to go. They're trapped in Antarctica. But like, just kind of makes me wonder if you think they ever could have done a sequel to this movie, like they could have showed them maybe getting rescued, maybe somehow they find a way to survive. I don't know.
Well, it's not officially canon, but there was a video game that came out in the early 2000s. I think it was for the PlayStation 2, where they actually revealed that McCready survived. The whole movie, you're trying to escape the thing or whatever, and then at the end of the movie, he's the one that flies the helicopter to come rescue you. So,
really?
in some form, there is a world out there where McCready's the one that survived.
Okay, yeah, because probably the main cast of this movie. So you have Kurt Russell obviously as McCready, but then you also have Wilford Brimley. He plays Blair. Yeah. Then you have Keith David. You have who plays Child. So I mean, Wilford Brimley. I'm not real familiar with a lot of his earlier movies, but I just know it was like the diabetes testing supply. It's like there's some of you out there that still aren't aware that your diabetes testing supplies might be covered by your Medicaid.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty much what he's known for. But no, he's a good actor. He was in like movies like Cocoon and a lot of big movies. And there was also Richard Mazer, who's a good character actor. Like I remember him. He played Veda's father in My Girl, those movies.
Okay.
Yeah, and then you've got who else is there? And Joel Palis. Like his only other claim to fame for me is he played for a few episodes. He played the head of Binford Tools in Home Improvement.
Okay.
Yeah,
right on.
And like for me, one of my biggest things is, like I mentioned before we went on air, it's local, is because the thing, like all the outdoor stuff, was filmed 5 hours away from where I live.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so where I live in northern British Columbia, if you travel north about 5 hours, you hit a border town called Hyder, Alaska. And they actually, and so it's bordered with a town called Stewart. So the border pretty much goes right through the two. And the thing was filmed on just about an hour outside of Stewart in the glaciers. So cool. I'm not sure if this is still the case, but for a while there, you were actually still able to go up there and see like not the whole thing, but there was remnants of filming still left over, like bits of the prop of the helicopter that exploded, things like that. So there was still evidence.
Cool.
So for me, that's a big thing.
Yeah, the whole area kind of strikes me as a place that would be a perfect setting to make it look like a frozen tundra kind of area, you know?
It was.
Like yeah. Yep.
Right? Yep. And to put in context, there was another movie that was filmed up there. It was the movie Insomnia with Robin Williams and Al Pacino. Same town.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. So, I mean, for me, like this movie's pretty much all pros for me. I don't really have too many cons on this movie. I mean, even if I just rack my brain pretty hard, it's just hard to come up with anything negative to really say about this movie. I just love like everything. I mean, yeah, I was scared and like I don't really get scared very easily. And like sometimes for me, like it's even that kind of gross out kind of body humor. Or like the body gore, I should say, that really gets to me. And like here you have it, but I feel like there's scenes where we're definitely over the top, but like it's not like throughout the whole entire movie. So I was all right with that.
Yeah, and I'm with you. Like I really don't have many cons. Really, the only one I could say is maybe there are some points where it might drag a little bit, but outside of that, it's you could argue it's a perfect movie.
Yeah, and like I am in like some of the like twists. Like there's like certain characters. I don't want to. I mean, we're getting into full spoilers, but
the movie's older than we are. But it's spoil.
But still, there's like certain characters though that you think are dead. You find out later that you're like, wait a minute, they're still alive, and they come back later, kind of like Wilford Brimley. Like he showed up later, and I'm like, oh, I thought he was dead, and then he just comes back. But like, I thought
And the character Fuchs, he's the only one we don't actually see die on screen. He
yeah,
burns himself alive.
yeah, true, yeah, because for Wilfred Brimley too, like his scene like where he's in the room with the axe and he's literally like destroying the whole entire room. But like for me, I thought that was a great scene. Just kind of seeing like his mental state kind of being taken over and just seeing that like he's not the same person. This is a different guy.
Yeah, you can tell right there almost that he was. I like to think that he was infected at that point, but really you don't know when he got infected.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, but yeah. So for me, like this just made me think of a lot of Kurt Russell movies, and like I was just going through his filmography on IMDb, and there's a lot of Kurt Russell movies I have not seen yet. There's going to be a lot that are going to pop up on my blind spot. So I just want to just list the ones that I have seen, which really aren't very many, honestly. So I've seen Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. I've seen
that's given.
Yep. I've seen The Hateful Eight.
Yeah.
I've seen the 2 Fast and Furious movies that he's in. And then I've seen Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. He had a brief appearance in that. And then I've also seen the movie Miracle, which I absolutely love, about the
Miracle
U.S. hockey team.
It's a great movie, and as a Canadian man, that speaks to our hockey love and heart up here.
Yep. Exactly. But like those are really the only Kurt Russell movies that I've actually seen. Yeah, so I have a huge list of like all the
Little China.
No, I've never seen.
Escape from New York, not Escape from LA. Really? Okay. Yeah, he's got a lot of great, especially during the 80s, he's got a lot of great action movies for sure. And my favorite is a movie called Tango and Cash. It's a buddy cop movie that they've made, I think, in 1989 with Sylvester Stallone.
Oh, yeah.
It's not the best movie. Like, you can tell there was some shit going on behind the scenes, like with the script and stuff, but it is so much fun. It's basically about 2 cops who are couldn't be completely any more different in terms of how they approach the job. Both get framed by the same guy because it turns out they're both going after him, and essentially it's just them trying to prove their innocence and shit like that. It's a fun movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right on. Yeah. And the funny thing is too that I actually own Escape from New York and Escape from LA. I actually bought it at a yard sale, but I have yet to watch it. So I need to get on that because I've heard those are actually really
Escape from New York is better. Escape from LA, really the only good thing to watch about the movie is Bruce Campbell as the Mad Doctor.
Okay. Nice. Yeah. And then I was just looking at a few of his other ones. So he's been in like Bone Tomahawk. I've not seen.
Yeah. There's a movie he did in the 80s with Robin Williams. It's an okay film, but I really would recommend checking it out just to see something different for both of them. It's a movie called The Best of Times. Kurt Russell plays a high school football star, and Robin Williams plays someone on their team, and he's obsessed with how they lost this one game back in high school, and he tries to recreate it. It's a weird. It's a different movie for sure.
Oh yeah, actually, speaking of that movie, I think they just had a question about that movie on the last Schmoedown teams match. Yeah. So so they're giving all the multiple choice answers. Like I thought, no way that it's Robin Williams, but actually, like he played the star football player on the team, I guess.
No, that's the thing. Robin Williams wasn't the star football player in the team. Kurt Russell was.
Oh, okay.
Robin Williams was more like the bench warmer who kind of got on and that kind of screwed everything up. And so he's obsessed with trying to he just can't move past it, sort of thing. And it's this very, very small town movie, so everybody knows about it, and some people are trying to prevent it. I'd recommend watching it just to see a different role of Robin Williams, where he kind of plays like the meek guy who's obsessed.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And then a couple of his was really big movies that like I'm just like even surprised myself that I haven't seen. I haven't seen Tombstone yet, so that's a big one there.
I know Rogan hates that movie and says it's not a Western. That is a fucking Western, and it is it's a good movie.
Why? I mean, come on.
The only thing I will say about it, though, it does not need to be 2.5 hours long.
True. Yeah. Right. Yep. And then also, movies like Backdraft.
Backdraft is another good one.
Yeah, like I remember when they used to have the whole Backdraft experience over at Universal Studios, and you actually get to go on the set where they actually filmed it. So that was back in the early '90s when they. Now that I remember going there as a kid, though, being on the set of Backdraft,
honestly, I would recommend, if you were to watch any right now, I would recommend Tango Cash, and I would recommend Backdraft.
Okay, yeah, and one of the ones like that that's like just for fun, because I'm a huge Elvis Presley fan. He was in 3,000 Miles to Graceland, so that's another one that's kind of on my list.
Actually, one of his big breaks as an adult is he played Elvis in a television movie in the late '70s.
Okay. Oh, right on. Yeah.
I don't know how accessible that one is, but yeah, I know he played Elvis in a movie.
Oh, cool. Yeah. So,
and then of course you got his career as a child star. Like he was in a lot of Disney movies in the 60s.
Yeah.
Like the kid who wore tennis shoes and stuff like that. So
yeah,
like,
that's right.
I saw those growing up. They're okay.
Yeah, same here. So yeah, I actually have seen the computer wore tennis shoes because my dad grew up on all those old classic Disney live movies. So he showed me all of those. Yep, like Escape to Witch Mountain, Apple Dumpling Gang, a bunch of Swiss Family Robinson, all those old classic ones.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so I did kind of have a little bit of a random question. So like one thing that I noticed in the movie, like Kurt Russell seemed to have a lot of dynamite. I wonder where he got all that dynamite from. He's like always blowing shit up, like just like left and right here. And just like they just like have a lot of dynamite stored there or something in this research facility.
I mean, they're surrounded by ice, so there's probably a lot of blasting going on. But I mean, if you could ask that, you could ask why do everybody with a gun in movies have a unlimited clip, right?
Right. Yep. True. But yeah, so there's a couple of my favorite quotes that I really like from the movie. So there's a quote here where he's explaining a little bit about the monster, how they're gonna figure out who is the thing and who's not. And so he has a pretty cool quote that says, "You see, when a man bleeds, it's just tissue. The blood from one of you things won't obey when it's attacked. It'll try and survive." And then you also have the scene where like blood's actually moving around, like the blood's like alive. You see it moving and stuff. So yeah, that always kind of creeped me out.
Yeah, this is a movie I saw in my 20s, so like a lot of that stuff I thought it was cool, but it didn't necessarily creep me out.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and also you have the iconic line with the monsters there at the end, and he throws the last stick of dynamite. He's like, "Yeah, F you too," and he just throws it. The dynamite at him. It's like, yeah, that seems like a classic Kurt Russell line to me. But yeah, so I think for me though, yeah, I mean, that's pretty much all I really got for the thing. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was an amazing movie. I was really blown away. I kind of went in with lower expectations, but one of the things that I do got to do though, got to throw some shade at Christian Harloff. You need to watch The Thing. Why have you not watched The Thing? I know you're a busy man, but you got to watch The Thing. It is definitely worth it.
Honestly, I think at this point, it's all for the bit.
Right.
Now that he doesn't want to watch it, it's just he knows The Thing. I think that's why he's taking his time.
And didn't he have something where he got so many subscribers, like on his channel or something? He said he was going to watch it, but I guess that can mean in his lifetime, someday he'll watch it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't really hold it against him, but I mean, you need to watch it, Christian, just because
I don't
how amazing it is.
Truthfully, there's a lot of popular movies like that I haven't seen. Like I still haven't seen Fight Club, even though it's sitting on my back shelf behind me.
Yeah. So actually, I haven't seen Fight Club either. That's on my blind spots too. So I'm actually with you there.
Yeah.
Yep. So yeah, there's a lot. So like you're gonna start to see it. I'm gonna have some polls. So I was actually going through all the list of the movies from year to year that I haven't seen. I've already got 350 movies that I have not seen. So it's enough to literally keep this show going for years. So, yeah. But yeah. So probably just gonna wrap it up with just giving it a score. I usually like to rate all my movie reviews out of 10. So for me, I would give the Thing, because I love horror, but it's not necessarily my favorite genre. I'm usually more of like a comedy action guy, but for the Thing, I'd probably give it a solid 8 out of 10 for me. But what about you, Matt? Though
I probably put about a 9.5 out of 10, just because, like I said, it is. You could argue it's a perfect movie. Just for me, sometimes it might drag a little bit, so that's why I'm going to give it a 9.5.
Right on, yeah. So, all right, so there we go. This has been our review of the Thing, and
I do want to throw out one more thing. I don't know if you're into board games or not.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm huge in it.
So there is a game that I got from my friend a couple years ago. It is called The Thing: Infection at Outpost 31.
Oh,
basically,
cool.
You are playing the events of the movie, and the objective is you have to make it to helicopter. And in every level, one more person gets infected. It is easily the hardest game I've ever played.
Really?
We've never won. We've never made it to the helicopter.
So is it like a co-op game? Is that what it is?
It's a co-op game, yeah. And you got to, and also you got to try to figure out who's infected and stuff like that. And you got to do tasks to move on to get the equipment to move on to the next level. It's a good strategy game, and like I said, it is really hard. The less people you have, the harder it is.
Oh wow, yeah, because that game kind of runs through the game Pandemic. You ever played that before?
Yeah, same idea.
Yep. All right, cool. Yeah. If you were to see my game closet, like I used to have actually a little bit of a board game obsession that kind of almost went to an unhealthy level. I have over 100 board games in my game closet. Like it's insane. So if you want to have a good game night, I've got like almost every game imaginable you can think of. But I do not have the Thing though, so that's one that I definitely want to check out. Yeah, for sure. But yeah. So this has been our review of the Thing. Matt, where can the people find you?
Well, you can find me on Instagram and Twitter at soda_the_saxman. You can find me Thursdays with our friend Ben Rayner doing Shooting the Breeze, where we just like what we do here, we just have conversations. On Sundays, you can find me with Jordan, Ben, and Sol doing Get Sweaty, our live 2-hour show where we break down movie news, the occasional sports news, and we have our top 5 at the end of the week. You can also find me over at the Schmoes of the North YouTube channel where we break down the week in Schmoedown, and then we interview competitors or people involved with the Schmoedown in some form or another. Our latest one that just dropped last week, we had Adam Witt and Eric Zipper on the Misfits, and it was a great time. Funny episode. We even played a version of the Newlywed Game with them, so definitely check that out.
Oh, awesome. Yeah. Those two together are like a great team. Like I love what they did with their last teams match. Like that was just perfect. Oh, that's so good.
Spoilers, they actually wore their costumes on their interview with us.
Oh, cool.
And I ended up busted out my leather jacket. So
awesome. Yeah. And for me, so yeah, you can definitely find me over on the Get Sweaty show with Matt and Ben and Saul. Just talking movies, sports, just all about our favorite things. And then for me, I just threw my Facebook handle just down here in the below us, just because I'm not really on Twitter and Instagram all that much, but you can find my Twitter and Instagram handles down in the description. But you can definitely find me at facebook.com/JordanAnderson21, as you see there. And then you also find me over on my YouTube channel. I got a YouTube channel that's called Movie Hero, and right now we got a series out called Tier Ranker Movie Fights, where we just break down different things from different categories. So we did one on video games, we did one on the best chain restaurant, and then this week we're going to do the best movie franchises that have 3 or more in the series. So we're going to rank them on a scale of like A, B, C, D, E, and F. So
nice.
So that'll be actually going live tomorrow at 6 p.m. Pacific time, so you can catch us there tomorrow. And yeah, that's it for me. So I've been Jordan Movie Hero Anderson. This has been Matt Soda the Saxman, and this has been Blindspots. We'll see you later.
See ya.